Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about God. False gods, false idols, and our idea of God that shifts from childhood into adulthood, from unconscious to conscious. Check this out. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new, please click the little subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications when I release new videos. And if you've been with me for a while, thank you so much. I want to just say this is not a controversial subject. This is really based on an interview I was doing recently about God and how we see our parents as our gods when we're children, and how we unfortunately, but unconsciously, project that God ideal onto source God, onto universe, whatever you want to call it, right? Higher power. And one of the things we were talking about is how as we become more conscious and heal some of these wounds, we start to unravel our ideas about what we think God is. This is not about religion. This is just about the concept. And as I was doing this interview, the person interviewing me was talking about how she personally used to think God was a punisher, used to think God was a judger, just like she felt when she was a child. And I could totally relate to that. I remember very specifically growing up and thinking, oh my gosh, if these things happen, God's punishing me, it means I did something wrong. So what we do is we kind of look externally for these validations, confirmations that we're right or wrong, on track or not. It's external living without thinking we're doing that, because we think we're just living, being a good little girl or a good little boy. If good things happen to us, we did good things. If bad things happen, God's telling us we did something wrong. This is not accurate. This is not accurate, and I'll tell you why. When you start to do some of this work and you start to lift up into a higher perspective, you understand that God, universe, source is unconditional. You didn't have that growing up because people are innately conditional due to our conditioning, until we unravel that conditioning and start to realize that there is a higher order that most people aren't catering to because they're so conditioned to say, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, this is black, this is white, judgment. We have to lift up and understand that when we start to be able to unconditionally love ourselves, because we give ourselves permission to be authentic and real and good enough, we start to see that these signs we're projecting onto the universe are only in alignment with the laws that we've decided to adopt. I remember when I was a teenager, I read this book about the 7 universal laws, and I remember thinking, oh my God, there's societal ideals and universal laws, and I want to find out how to do that. Because these ideals are keeping me in prison and making me not love parts of myself. And it's not from God, it's from people that have created these ideas. And to understand the higher laws is to understand your heart. It's to understand that there is forgiveness and there is difference and there is, a world of non-judgment that we can live in when we stop judging ourselves and our feelings and our needs and all of that. We start saying, okay, maybe mom is a wounded human and dad's a wounded human, and maybe my parents aren't gods. Maybe they're just did the best that they could. And if you do my emotional rehab course or my shadow work course, we talk about the mother wound that comes from the mother's wounding, the father wound that comes from the father's wounding, the tribal wounds that aren't personal, but we were born into them, and now we get to choose again. And so this gets deep and heavy when you start to see that God, I call it mother, father, God, is my unconditional loving parents. My real parents had conditions and judgments based on their own wounding. So I tell a lot of my students, if you look at your parents, you look at the potential of your parents, that's you. You don't have to take on the wounding, but you did because you're in the tribe. And so as we heal our tribal wounds, we start to lift up to understand that the universe and the higher power and God's source energy is not judgmental. Things don't happen to you to punish you or tell you you're doing right or wrong, because there is no right or wrong in the universe. It's what's right for you. It's a moral code and an integrity within you, but it's not the same for every person. That's a difficult subject because we know, hurting someone isn't good and isn't right, but you're not going to get punished for it. The punishment isn't your own karma. The punishment is your own feelings of, oh my God, I did something wrong. I hurt someone, hopefully. And if you don't have that, that's the issue. But we have an inner guidance system. And the inner guidance system is different than guilt and reward and all these things. So we have to start to differentiate what is right and why is that right? What is wrong is why is that wrong? Stop seeing that these things that are happening to me are telling me who I am. These things that are happening to me are telling me who I think I am. They're reflecting the judgments I have within me. When we change, our environment changes, and this is what I mean. I love giving this example in my courses. If I'm a confident person and someone is writing, let's say, a comment on my video saying, I hate your video, blah, blah, blah. If I'm confident and I know what I'm talking about, I'll say, thanks for your opinion. It's unfortunate because that's a projection, but let me help you understand. If I'm not a confident person and someone writes something on my video that they don't like, I'll say, oh my God, maybe I should delete the video or change the video. Oh no, that's somebody living from external source of worth, value, and identity. From internal, if I know myself, I understand myself, I love myself, this is what's right for me, then somebody else's opinion is not going to sway. It'll just be interesting. So this is what we have to understand. People who are super externally focused that think their parents are God and then project God onto their environment and their conditions are constantly living externally. Is this okay? It's not external feedback. It makes you feel super powerless and unfree. Now, a lot of people decide they like that because they don't trust themselves enough to make their own decisions or know who they truly are. So they look for the external validation so that they know who they are. But it's never the truth of who you are. People who trust themselves and know, you know what, I've done enough things in life to say, you know, I like that, let me try that. I don't like that, let me not try that. When you do things and you start to follow that inner guidance, you start to build trust. Standing up for yourself, having boundaries, having discernment, having aligned action on behalf of what you need and how you feel. You start to build self-trust. And then when things go against that self-trust, you're like, yeah, no, not working for me. Boundary. Yep, no, wrong direction, not who I am. You start to come into a sense of self, a sense of unconditional love, and a sense of what the universe, God, and source really supports. It supports those who support self. That's how it feels. It feels like this external support system. And you won't feel that support when you don't feel support yourself because you are one and the same. It's an extension of you. You are source energy in human form. So if you're battling yourself and against yourself and you're projecting that everywhere, it's just a mirror of how you are with you. It can be a confusing subject, but this is the whole point. God is not a punishing God. The universe doesn't punish. The universe doesn't tell you right, wrong, good, bad. It tells you what you believe about it. You're looking for external validation of an internal uncertainty. If you're certain of self, you won't be swayed by externals. If you're not certain of self, you're looking for self in others. So, something to think about. I always welcome your questions and comments below. I would love if you'd share this video with at least one person if you think it would help somebody. I also want to mention my inner work group coaching, healing trauma bonds, healing codependency, narcissistic abuse, attachment injuries. It is starting in February. 5 people per group. The link is below. Coaching and all of that is also below. Please check it out. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I'll see you soon.